What on earth actually is The Sims 5? Nobody knows. I don't think even EA know at this stage, but there are things I know that I don't want in The Sims 5, particularly things I find very annoying about The Sims 4, but also things in The Sims 2 or The Sims 3 that I also really hated. I hate Sims 4 Moodlets with a passion. Why is my sim +1 fine from sparkling cleaning surroundings? I don't get it. But then my sim is also +1 happy from someone lives here from being in a dusty area. So it's sparkling clean, which is making her fine, but it's also dusty, which is making her happy. It's contradicting. Like, does somebody tell me, does that make any sense? The most dumb thing I think about the Moodlet system is just how weirdly it changes. Like, you know, if I take a steamy shower, my sim will suddenly be in a flirty mood. Although she's not flirty, she's still fine. She's just a little bit +1 flirty from feeling steamy, but she's still just fine because she's in a sparkly, clean surrounding. But then if I get my sim to psych herself up, she's now got a +1 confident moodlet, but she's not confident. She still feels just fine. Mootlets are the most weirdly unimpactful thing about The Sims 4. Whenever I play the game, I genuinely never ever think about what my Sims 4 mood is. It doesn't really affect my Sims life or the way I play the game. It's just very silly. And actually, The Sims 2 and The Sims 3 did a much better job at this. In The Sims 3, we have a mood meter. And basically, you either have things that make your mood go up or things that make your mood go down. And if your mood is higher, Sims will increase their lifetime happiness faster, which is their version of the Aspiration reward store. And they also have other perks, for example, being able to build skills faster. I just personally feel like this is a much better scenario because it can contribute to Sims having more personality. The problem with the Sims 4 system is it doesn't really have an impact on gameplay or their personalities really. In The Sims 3, it's very, very clear what impacts what and how it impacts, and it's a lot more easy to understand with the icons and things. I honestly just prefer the idea of having my sim feeling good or feeling bad or feeling fine. And for example, if a sim in my sim's household passes away, my sim could get a semi-permanent negative moodlet, and the only way that they resolve that moodlet is if they work through their emotions by taking up new hobbies and doing things over time and actually trying to work through their problems. Otherwise it stays forever, and it actually gives your sim's lives a lot more meaning because you actually have to think, well, actually, my sim has this issue and I need to resolve it. Whereas in The Sims 4, if your sim has a moodlet, you either have to perform interactions in order to achieve a different moodlet by gaining more moodlet points in that certain moodlet, or you just have to wait for it to end. It just doesn't make any sense. I love The Sims 3 with a passion, but the open world thing, okay, I love it. There's just a lot of issues with it which don't make much sense to me. And that is just simply the fact that The Sims 3 feels very, very dead. You do definitely see townies walking around, but like if I go to the swimming pool, there's just like one sim in the pool. If I go to this community garden, there's just like one other sim here. You do definitely see sims moving around about the town, and every single lot definitely has a couple of sims in. The issues more arise when you're going to a lot which is supposed to have a lot of people in, but there's not really anybody there. Bridgeport is honestly the funniest one for this. This is probably my favorite Sims 3 world. Actually, it's the city world that also came with vampires and a lot of other things. But for a big bustling city world, there's not very many people here. There's this like really cool dome park in the world, but there's like nobody here. It's dead. Or like if you go to the gym, it's dead. There's nobody there. Like every single lot, even the nightclubs, like you go into a nightclub in the Sims 3 and your sim will be the only ones there. I like the idea of an open world. It's just, I don't think The Sims, with the way the simulation works, I just don't feel like it can handle it. I do actually like The Sims 4's neighborhood system, where every single time you load into a world, it has different neighborhoods and you only load into that small neighborhood area. The only issue with Sims 4 worlds is, firstly, you can't actually enter any of the other lots in the small neighborhood. It's extremely restrictive. The second issue I have is every single neighborhood comes with these smallish community areas which may have a fishing pond, or it may have a community garden and it will have a drink stand or something, but you rarely ever see townies use these areas. Also, I think it's kind of dumb, like if you're moving into a different neighborhood, you have to click on a specific lot that you're visiting in the neighborhood. You can't just visit the entire neighborhood itself. And then when you load into a lot in the neighborhood, like this local park, obviously there's nobody here, but I've mentioned in a video before that newer Sims 4 neighborhoods, they're way too big for their own good, and as a result it looks even dead than the smaller ones like in Willow Creek. And in these neighborhoods, for example, here there's this park area. I have never ever seen a child sim play on any of this playground equipment, firstly because children for some reason don't exist in The Sims 4, but secondly because the game is not really built to handle Sims interacting with all these different objects, so they exist for no reason. What I really do not want in The Sims 5 is a big open Sims 3 world, but I also don't want the restrictive Sims 4 world where nothing's going on. As I said, an ideal scenario for me is to have an open neighborhood where Sims can freely go in and out of each other's houses or different community lots in a smaller area, and there's no loading screens, and Sims AI is smart enough to actually use objects in the area. It's been 10 years since The Sims 4 was first released, and they rushed the release of this game in 1 year, and if they have a lot more time with The Sims 5, I feel like they should be able to do an open neighborhood system. I'm talking about this notification bar here, the one that tells me that I must use move objects on, even though it's already on every time I place a lot. And oh, my Sims 4 game just crashed. That's another thing I don't want in The Sims 5, instability. The Sims 4 is honestly more unstable than every single relationship I've had put together, and that really is saying something. There we go, that's another thing. I wasn't planning on putting this in the video, but that's another thing I don't want. Instability and bugs and glitches. Although we will be getting them because it's EA, I'm afraid. Tell me right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you care that there is a sale on in the thrift store in the high school years world? Why do I need to be notified of this every day? Why do I need to be notified of a City Living Festival every day and a Snowy Escape Festival every day? Why does my sim need to receive a random phone call every 5 minutes from a stranger chatting absolute rubbish? It just doesn't make any sense. I'm just so sick of my sim receiving random calls, random notifications. Although good news, when they were talking about the development of Project Renee, they were talking about how they can get away with having as little UI on the screen as possible. So hopefully they understand the issues with notifications and random phone calls, or even just like random Sims knocking on your door, Sims randomly getting fears out of nowhere which don't make any sense, random wants. I feel like we can all categorically agree all these random notifications everywhere are just very annoying. Guys, can we just like address the frame rate of my game right now? Like, okay, I wasn't planning on making this an official point, but I feel like it needs to be said. The Sims 5 really needs stability. I can't deal with a game that's broken on launch like The Sims 4. I can't deal with it, especially like when you go into build mode and it just lags like this for absolutely no reason at all. And they've literally made no efforts to fix it. I can't stand Sims 4 Aspirations. To be fair, some of the aspirations when the game first came about did make some sense. So like this base game 1 successful lineage, it kind of goes through the milestones of parenting. So spend 1,000 simoleons on kids stuff. In other words, building a kid's bedroom, reading and socializing with your child, helping them with their homework and raising up their skills, have them complete an aspiration, have them be successful as an adult. They were quite hard. But then we move on to the other ones. For example, Komorebi Sightseer. Eat food at the Festival of Light, Snow, or Youth. Take a selfie with the Komorebi mascot. It just feels like a tutorial. And then we got weird ones like Fabulously Filthy. Leave food out to spoil. Like, why is that an aspiration? The only good aspirations in the entirety of The Sims 4 are the Horse Ranch one, ones, and that's because they actually feel like lifetime goals. The champion rider one of the Horse Ranch pack just says achieve level 10 in horse riding, complete in 15 competitions, win 5 gold medals, and place at the ultimate championship. And that makes sense because it's just like one end goal and you can achieve it in any way you like. The Sims 3 had the best ones for me because it was literally just one lifelong goal, and once you've reached your long-term goal, that's it, it's completed and your sim is forevermore very happy. I just feel like tutorially aspirations or handholdy aspirations in The Sims 4 are not it, and I don't want them in The Sims 5. There are issues with set dressing in every single world. Today, we are just going into the growing together world. Oh, and of course it's raining. Of course. The issue I have as a set dressing world is it's like, what here is actually interactable? We've got all these buildings down this road that you can't interact with. For some reason, I can't walk down to this road, but I can walk down to this small section of path here. But why would I bother walking down here? This area always makes me laugh because it's literally this humongous area with a large conservatory, but there's literally nothing to do here and it's always empty. So it's like, why on earth does this exist? I feel like we can all categorically say that we all hate set dressing in The Sims 4. Henford-on-Bagley is a really pretty looking world in The Sims 4, but we've got all these really unique areas, like this kind of ruined, it looks like a church or something, but when you go into it, there's literally like nothing here. So what's the point in coming here? Or there's this like spirally thing where you can search this snail for different things, but like this, it's just not really that engaging, and it's just hit or miss in terms of where you can actually go and where you can't, and what's set dressing and what's not. In Henford-on-Bagley, they have different shops like this where you click on it and you can window shop, where your sim looks from the outside in, but they don't actually do anything. Or we have this supposed clothes shop, which is basically a wardrobe where you can change your outfit, but it's not like you buy them. It's just very strange. Or like this bakery, you can't actually go in. Why can't you just click on it? Even if it's just a rabbit hole and your sim goes into the bakery, I don't get it. I feel like in the modern era of life simulation games, rabbit holes are not it, but also set dressing is not it either. It's 2024 as of making this video, and I think we need a lot better. With all of the information that we know or that we can intimate from Project Renee, they focus so much on apartments. They've spoken a lot about having your own apartment customization, but they've mentioned absolutely nothing about customizing or building your own house. And this has me believe that Project Renee may only come with apartments and not houses, in some kind of like multiplayer apartment complex where every single player has their own different lot inside the apartment and you can visit each other. That your sim can only live inside of an apartment. This is absolute hell to me. I want to be able to have the choice between an apartment and a house. I also think it's really bad for family gameplay if every sim lives in an apartment. It doesn't make any sense. If they were remaking, for example, The Herbs, I am all for having apartments only. But I highly doubt that Project Renee is a remake of The Herbs because EA doesn't really care about older Sims games. So I doubt that would be coming. I just don't like the restrictive idea of a Sims 4 MMO game where you're living in an apartment. I actually want The Sims 5 to stay as a regular Sims experience. By all means, give us a multiplayer apartment, neighborhood, or special game mode. But I want the core Sims system to actually be there. It makes no sense that if you go into Forgotten Hollow, the vampire world, that Bob Pancakes turns up looking like a fashionista walking through the world. I just can't handle like Sims 4 townies in the slightest. They make me so mad. And as we all know, Judith Ward is the worst of them all, the 5-star celebrity that shows up everywhere. So it's not just randomly generated townies and weird outfits. It's also just Sims showing up in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it doesn't make any sense. I really hate the Sims 4 system of this. The game just seems to pull random Sims from random worlds to turn up at any lot when you load into a new lot, and it just doesn't make any sense. Tell me right now, I've just gone into the werewolves world and Nancy Landgrab is literally going on a jog in this secluded, abandoned werewolves world. Why is Nancy Landgrab jogging around this world? And why she just magically disappeared into thin air? I hate it. I just hate it, guys. In The Sims 5, no, I do not want randomly generated townies randomly popping up anywhere. And the fact that we've literally got mods in The Sims 4 that prevent this from happening and make it more realistic goes to show that it is possible to have realistic populations in this game. And I don't want the same mistake in The Sims 5. Every single Sims 4 pack has a really weird gimmick that most people don't really care about or play with, and I find them all really annoying once you've got a few different kinds of packs installed. A really great example of this is Eco Lifestyle. Tell me right now when you've ever used the neighborhood action plan system and it actually having a fun impact on your game. Tell me right now, when has your Sims reputation with Get Famous actually ever had an impact on their lives? Tell me right now when the Snowy Escape lifestyles have had an impact on your Sims lives. Tell me right now when milestones from Growing Together have actually changed the way you play the game or done anything in the game. I find just a lot of Sims 4 packs have gimmicks just to justify the price point, and they don't really add anything fun or new to the game. I definitely think The Sims 5 needs to have a stripped back approach in terms of looking at core things that actually make the game enjoyable and focusing on these things, because if they just add a small gimmick with every single pack, over time these add up to an absolutely cluttered, jumbled mess like we've got in The Sims 4. And to be fair, The Sims 2 was also very bad for this. The Sims 2 was very cluttered with all these different kinds of systems in the panels, and it was very confusing. I don't care what you have to say. If you've only played The Sims 4 and you've not played a previous Sims game, you're not allowed to have an opinion. I'm afraid that's the rules. Bella Goth is supposed to be missing and she's supposed to be mysterious. I'm not just talking about Bella Goth though, I'm talking about the official Sims timeline. The Sims has a very specific timeline, starting with The Sims 3, moving on to The Sims 1 and then The Sims 2. The Sims 4 is not a part of the timeline. EA have tried to pretend that it's a part of a timeline over the last year or so, which doesn't make any sense because they originally came out and said that it's not a part of the Sims timeline. They've said that it's in an alternate timeline, but then they've gone back on that and they've tried to pretend that it is a part of the official Sims timeline, which makes absolutely no sense. Honestly, this is the thing I'm probably going to be most disappointed about in The Sims 5. I really don't want them to do this whole alternate timeline thing again, but realistically, everything about The Sims that made it good has been washed out of The Sims 4, and it's just going to become even more washed out in The Sims 5. I know it. I know they're not going to go back to the original timeline because they probably don't know and they don't care. They've probably had so much staff turnover at this point that nobody really knows what the timeline is. I just really don't want The Sims 5 to be lifeless in the same way that The Sims 4 doesn't really feel like it has any storylines in it. Every single previous Sims game had its own kind of story to it. The Sims 4 is the only one which doesn't, and they've tried in some packs, particularly the werewolves pack, for example, they tried adding lore and stories, but it's not really the same. What they really need to be doing is going back to the original timeline and thinking about how they can actually make the lives of the people you live with more interesting and mysterious, because there is absolutely nothing interesting or mysterious going on with the Goth household whatsoever. Every single household in The Sims 4 is basically just the same and they don't really have any backstory, and I really don't want to have lifeless Sims in The Sims 5. I want them to actually have stories. Tell me right now it makes any sense that any sim from any world in any household can access any outfit for free. In what world are you getting any outfit for free? Why does The Sims 4 not have a system where you've actually got to like buy clothes? Because you could do that in The Sims 2 and The Sims 3. You actually had to go out and buy your own clothes. Why is it in The Sims 4 that you can basically get everything for free and it all just exists in your wardrobe? It makes no sense. It also makes no sense to me that this toilet paper here is 50 simoleons, but then this door right here is only 40 simoleons. So how on earth is a door 10 simoleons cheaper than toilet paper? There are so many examples of the Sims economy being dumb, but I think the biggest issue, honestly, is just to do with making money in the game in general. I feel like the Sims team don't really care about the economy when they put in new objects or they decide how much money you earn from a career. There is absolutely literally no balance whatsoever. And it seems like no thought has gone into making it balanced. I know a lot of people like to play with cheats like using motherload, but I just feel like there's a lot of players out there who genuinely don't want to cheat earning money, and they actually really want money to feel realistic in the game, and they want it to feel like a challenge. They want it to feel like there must be a reason for your Sims to go to work and do things, but there isn't really one, and it just breaks the immersion of the game. And I really don't want to have an unbalanced economy in The Sims 5. I really want it to be thought through from the start to the finish. Maybe this is an unpopular one. At the start, I really liked the idea of game packs, but over time, I've just began to feel like game packs are more and more cash grabby. For example, if you look at Dine Out, in every previous Sims game, dining wasn't really a pack specific thing. It was just a part of a wider pack or a part of the base game in The Sims 3 or in The Sims 2. It was just in random packs. Some packs had restaurants, others didn't. But in The Sims 4, you must get the restaurant game pack, or how The Sims 4 comes with the Dream Home Decorator game pack, which simply comes with an interior designer career. But in The Sims 3, interior design was a part of the Ambitions expansion pack, which is their version of Get to Work. So I just feel like game packs are an excuse to spread content thinner and thinner, and I just don't like the way it sits. I personally would rather see more fleshed out expansion packs like we had in The Sims 3, because The Sims 4 has spread things very thin, making the player base feel very unsatisfied. I'm truly worried about the pack system of The Sims 5. I do not want it to be spread thinner. Unfortunately, it looks like it will be that way. We already have it confirmed that the Seasons pack will now be split into 4 separate packs: a spring pack, summer pack, autumn pack, and winter pack, as per an interview about Project Renee. So although we're getting weather in the base game, if you want to build a snowman, you'll need the My First Winter stuff, or My First Winter expansion pack, whatever it's going to be. I just feel like it's something that could 100% kill off Project Renee. People were already very, very pissed and genuinely exhausted when The Sims 4 came out, because they were like, I've bought all these Sims 3 packs and now I have to buy all these Sims 4 packs just to achieve the same experience. And the Sims 3 packs were really, really in-depth. One Sims 3 pack was the equivalent of 3 to 5 Sims 4 packs. So in The Sims 5, if they make it even more diluted, I truly believe it could kill the game off, and I really don't want that. You guys let me know which Sims 1, 2, 3 and 4 features you do not want to see in The Sims 5 / Project Renee. Thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.